Hello everyone, and welcome to today's listening practice session. My name is Daniel, and in this talk I'd like to share some thoughts about learning habits and how small changes in your daily routine can have a big impact on your success, especially if you're preparing for an exam like IELTS. Let's begin with a simple question. Why do some people improve quickly while others seem to stay at the same level for a long time? Many learners believe that intelligence or talent is the main factor. However, in reality, research has shown that consistency plays a much more important role. In other words, what you do every day matters more than what you do once in a while. For example, imagine two students. The first student studies English for 5 hours in one day, but then does nothing for the rest of the week. The second student studies just 1 hour every day. After a week, the second student will usually have better results. Why? Because regular practice helps your brain remember information more effectively. Now, let's talk about habits. A habit is something you do regularly, often, without thinking. Good habits can help you succeed, while bad habits can slow you down. The key is to build habits that support your learning goals. So, how can you build a good habit? First, start small. Don't try to study for 3 or 4 hours a day if you're not used to it. Instead, begin with just 20 or 30 minutes. Once this becomes easy, you can gradually increase your study time. Second, choose a specific time and place. For example, you might decide to study English every evening at 7 p.m. in your room. When you repeat this routine every day, your brain begins to associate that time and place with studying. Third, remove distractions. This is especially important in today's world, where smartphones and social media can easily take your attention away. Try turning off notifications or putting your phone in another room while you study. Now, let's connect this idea to IELTS preparation. As you know, the IELTS exam has 4 main sections: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Each of these skills requires a different approach. Let's start with listening. Many students find listening difficult because they try to understand every single word. However, this is not necessary. In fact, even native speakers don't always catch every word in a conversation. Instead, you should focus on understanding the main ideas and key details. Practice listening to a variety of accents, such as British, Australian, and American English. This will help you become more familiar with different pronunciation styles. Another useful strategy is to listen actively. This means paying close attention and asking yourself questions while you listen. For example, what is the speaker's main point? What examples do they give? What is their opinion? Next, let's talk about reading. Reading in IELTS is not just about understanding the text, it's also about managing your time. You usually have less than 1 minute per question, so you need to read efficiently. One important technique is skimming. This means quickly reading a text to get the general idea. Another technique is scanning, which involves looking for specific information such as names, dates, or numbers. By practicing these techniques, you can save time and improve your accuracy. Now, moving on to writing. Writing is often considered the most challenging part of the IELTS exam. This is because it requires you to organize your ideas clearly and use correct grammar and vocabulary. A good way to improve your writing is to practice regularly and get feedback. You can also study sample essays to understand what a high-quality answer looks like. Remember, clarity is more important than complexity. It's better to write simple, correct sentences than to use complicated structures with mistakes. Finally, let's discuss speaking. Many students feel nervous when speaking English, especially in a test situation. This is completely normal. The key is to practice speaking as much as possible. Try to speak English every day, even if it's just for a few minutes. You can talk to yourself, record your voice, or practice with a friend. Then, speaking focus on fluency, and this means speaking smoothly and organizing your ideas logically. Don't worry too much about making mistakes. Communication is the main goal. Now, I'd like to share a simple daily routine that you can follow to improve your English. In the morning, you could spend 15 minutes listening to a short podcast or watching a video in English. Try to understand the main idea without using subtitles. In the afternoon, you might read a short article or a passage and practice skimming and scanning. In the evening, you can write a short paragraph or essay and review some vocabulary. Finally, before going to bed, spend a few minutes speaking English either by talking to yourself or recording your thoughts about your day. By following this routine consistently, you will gradually see improvement in all 4 skills. Before we finish, let me leave you with one final idea. Learning a language is a journey, not a race. There will be times when you feel frustrated or tired, and that's okay. What matters is that you keep going. Progress might be slow at first, but over time your efforts will pay off. Thank you for listening, and I hope this session has been helpful. Good luck with your IELTS preparation, and remember, small steps every day can lead to big results.